there, and I don't really bother going. I actually thought archaeology would be a really fun field to do. There's just no real jobs out there for archaeologists, so one of those things. I've always been fascinated by the subject. I'd love to do it as like as a study thing, like as a study holiday, if you will, or something, like go and visit some like ancient site and dig up stuff, and think, I reckon that'd be fun. Now, religion has not evolved. Man did not create God, God created man. Well, I don't know. And maybe that is true, but it's yet to be proven at this point.
That's an atheist talking about Kent Hovind's PhD. And I've got the PhD here, and I've read up to about 30. It's about 102 pages. I've read up to about 40 pages, and what strikes me is it's a Patriot University dissertation for Doctor of Philosophy in Christian Education. I don't know much about this university, but to me this is not a proper academic PhD. It's not. There's no engagement in any scholarship here whatsoever. There's no critical assessment of other scholars and critical engagement with them. So this is not a proper PhD by any stretch of the imagination. If you want to see a proper PhD, if you go to Gary Habermas' website, you can go and read his PhD on the resurrection of Jesus. There he engages with Pannenberg, David Hume and Kierkegaard scholarship, and that's a pretty decent PhD, and there are many scholarly footnotes. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a PhD really. So I like Ken Hovind. I don't want to diss him, but in no way is he academically qualified if this is his PhD. So the point is that the atheist community are strawmanning because they're picking the weakest link. They're not picking the real academics, the real scholars of Christianity. There's a revival of philosophy recently, the last 20 years, in the academic world, influenced by Plantinga. There's a revival of philosophy, Christian philosophy in France. There's some brilliant scholars in PhD scholars in biology that have done proper PhDs. They're not critiquing them. They're obviously taking easy targets to attack. Yeah, so I would agree with atheist criticism there. That is not a proper academic in any way. I mean, it might be an interesting read, but it's certainly not a rigorous academic PhD, where you see the whole point of scholarship is that you engage, that you listen to another scholar, then you critique that scholar, then you listen to another scholar, you critique that scholar, and you go through these minute critiques so that your own position is critiqued, so that you're really thinking it through. Well, his PhD is not doing that. So yeah, welcome to the club, atheists. Pick the straw man. Yeah, why you don't pick the best scholars to deal with in Christianity. In theology, you don't take an R.C. Sproul. In biology, you don't pick what's Icons of Evolution. What's it? The guy who wrote Icons of Evolution. I'll just get that. Icons of Evolution. Yeah, Jonathan Wells, sorry. You don't deal with our top philosophers like You don't deal with scholars like David Wells, who's written a lot of theology books, like Reformed Theology in America, Turning to God, No Place for Truth, God in the Wasteland, The Bleeding of the Evangelical Church, Losing Our Virtue. These are top academic books by a top academic Christian philosopher. You don't critique anything like that. Instead you just pick straw man things. So keep it up, atheist. Keep blinding the people on the internet with your false scholarship, critiquing scholars that aren't real scholars, pretending that you're scholars when you're not. Alright? Take care.